saying, hey, chess.com, I want you to be the place where that helps me enjoy chess. That's a huge responsibility, and I feel it.
So, Eric, I started to like you, and you broke my heart. You broke my heart, Eric.
There are people who've been smart at cheating, and we have caught them. There are people who, have said, wow, I'm so surprised you caught me.
Hi, everybody. My name is Илья Levitov. You're on Levitov Chess chess channel. I'm already a little bit used to talking to people to talk to chess people in English. We've just made I think 2 days ago I've made an interview with Fabiano Caruana, one of the best chess players in the world, and I was really amazed how he updated himself. Last time I talked to him was like 10 years ago, and he was very shy boy somewhere sitting somewhere. Now he's a well-known grandmaster. But anyway, we have an episode 2 of my interview with Erika Allebesta, the CEO of Chesscom. Eric, hi.
Hi, thanks so much for having me back.
Yes, thank you very much for the first interview. There were a lot of reaction, especially it's interesting. There was much more reaction in Russia than abroad. Yeah, my English channel is not so popular as my Russian channel. And also people are very interested in what is going on in the chess world. Russia is fortunately, a chess country. Yeah. As I still hope it is. Let's put it like this. So, Eric, I started to like you, and you broke my heart. You broke my heart, Eric. You canceled the Chess Pro League that my team was supposed to play in for the second time. What happened? What happened?
It breaks my heart too. I have been a longtime fan of the Pro Chess League, the US Chess League. You put a lot of things out there, and you never really know what users and people and members in the community will love. And I would say that outside of a small hardcore group of fans, it never caught on in the way that we hoped it would.
That's true.
And so what ends up happening is now you have a limited number of resources, and you're like, where are we going to put these? And you try it, and you try again, and you try again. And then if the viewership says, hey, we don't care that much about this, it's hard to continue investing there. We did for years, and now we're going to take a step back and look at where our investments are to grow the game and what people really want to watch. That said, and don't hold me to this, but we are looking at how to bring the Pro Chess League back potentially in more of a community way that's not, the big overdone super high cost, super high expectations, but run it more at the community sustainable level. So that is in discussion right now.
But the Champions Chess Tour is on, and you've made less tournaments this year, right? There are going to be 4 tournaments, including the big final. But will the prize money be the same? Will the format of the playing will be the same? How will it look like in 2024?
Yep, there's 4 events that will then have qualifiers into a 5th event, which is the final. And it's roughly the same as last year. A little bit faster of play. Even talking to the players, they felt like 15-3 felt a little bit long, and so we're going to bring that down. And ultimately our goal is to get a chess event that can really work well on TV. And if you talk to any media broadcaster, etc., having events that are 3 to 4 days, 3 to 4 hours long per day is really ideal for them. And so it's very hard for chess to get on TV historically due to a lot of factors, how long it is, it's very challenging to do. So we're trying to fit that in here. And I think the current format will work. The prize money is roughly the same, but the playing expectations are less. So it's, a little bit more money per hour, I guess, for players.
And what do you mean by going on TV? Will it be on some TV channel, or how does it work?
It's not currently on television, but
you are planning. It's your goal, right?
The goal is to get chess more mainstream. I mean, it doesn't have to, and there will always be great chess events that will, be online only or YouTube. But the goal, if we want to grow chess more, we need more people to watch chess, to be more fans. We need players like Fabiano who have really come out and shown more personality. So there's a whole bunch of things we need to do to get chess, from kind of, just on small YouTube channels to maybe Formula One levels. How are we going to do that? It requires a lot of work, and format and length and all that different stuff, is a factor.
But do you believe in the chess? That chess has this potential to be on TV? Is it not too boring for people to watch? I'm a chess fan for 20 years, but sometimes it's boring for me. I mean,
I think there's a lot of chess that's boring, and I think there's a lot of chess that's exciting. And I think it really depends. That's up to the organizer to make chess exciting. I think chess as a game is exciting for people who love chess as a game, but chess can be more than that. The storylines can be very exciting. I mean, when you get the right commentator with the right game and the right presentation, a lot of people will watch chess who don't even understand all the moves and the depth of what's going on. So count me as a believer. That said, I'm not 100% sure, obviously, that it'll work out, but we're doing everything that we can.
Do you plan to do any other, like, moving forward things? So what are your plans? Like something that will catch everybody's eye. I don't know how to express it in English, but maybe something new, something exciting. Let's put it like this.
Yeah, we're constantly discussing this. We have a lot of different ideas. We kind of break our events into some different thoughts. I'm kind of giving you the inside look at how we think about this.
Sure.
We look at like community events, which is like Titled Tuesday and Arena Kings and things that kind of happen for the community and that stuff. Then we look at OTB, and there's kind of like two tiers of OTB. There's the biggest stakes OTB, and then there's like second stakes OTB. There's some great tournaments. Tata Steel's kind of in the middle. It's like kind of a big, but it also doesn't qualify for a world championship. So it's kind of in the middle. Very exciting event going on right now. But to your point, I mean, I personally, Tata Steel has been going on, 8 hours a day for, 3 weeks. I personally don't have time to watch 8 hours of streaming for 3 weeks long. It's too long. I like the recaps. I try to catch in and catch different parts, but it's not that type of event won't hit mainstream media. But OTB, kind of classical long form chess, we definitely cover that. Then you have the World Championship cycle. That's also something that's important. Also, how will that transcend from where it's at to mainstream? Huge question mark. I think FIDE is thinking about it. I'm going to come back to that in a second. We then have our own properties, Speed Chess Championship, formerly PCL, that might move to community. And then, College Chess League is something we're doing. And then there's another type of event which you as a chess player might like or you might hate. And that's kind of more on the celebrity crossover events, the POG champs. We've done some Blitz champs. We're trying to work on, there's so many football players all around the world, like, you remember there was the Ronaldo and Messi picture, and Mo Salah is a huge, footballer. So many. So can we get an event that's footballers? That kind of, it's not high quality chess, but it's high quality personalities and intrigue. So that's kind of the bucket of basket that you can look at for the different events. I will say that we have tried historically to work closely with FIDE as to what our vision to get chess to more mainstream could be. FIDE wasn't interested in our vision of that. So, we're now questioning what's going to happen there.
What do you mean FIDE wasn't interested in your vision?
We made a bid for the World Chess Championship to kind of work that cycle into mainstream media to buy the commercial rights of the World Chess Championship from FIDE, but they declined our offer. There were certain things that they didn't like. It was too radical for them.
You mean you wanted to organize like candidates and the match by yourself, yeah? To be the organizer of the main events in the cycle.
Yes, in a way that we felt would push chess to the next level of mainstream media, sponsorship, commercial viability, all the the playbook that many other sports
Everything
have
we lack now. Let's say.
I mean, sure, yeah.
Okay, but when was it? If it's not a secret.
Last year.
Oh, last year, so like yesterday. Okay.
Like recently. Yeah, I think it was several months ago. Yeah.
Okay, so we were right when we were expecting you to offer it. I mean, we were talking, internally in the chess world, we were talking about it. So it's very logical for you to be interested in organizing all this, of course. with all your experience and with a beautiful set of commentators you have now in the Vikings. I gotta say that Daniel Naroditsky is my favorite commentator right now. I like him a lot. So good job, Eric. Let's go to some stuff that we're expected to talk about. Let's say, I've interviewed, as I mentioned, Fabiano Caruana, who is very concerned with the cheating issue. He told me that he thinks his estimation is that every title Tuesday he plays with 2 cheaters. Where do you stand on that? What are your thoughts on that? Is that exaggerating, or
I think that's more than truth. I think that's his truth of what he feels. And I respect Fabiano greatly. We've had many dinners together. We're cordial and we respect each other, I think. But sure. I think we view this very differently. I have access to vast amounts of data and statistics that, frankly, he doesn't. It's not fair to him. We have imperfect information. That said, he's also a grandmaster and he has information I don't have, which is how he feels, etc. So I respect that. But I would say that is an overstatement of what we would assess to be cheating. Now, I would say absolutely, he probably has 2 or more results that don't feel statistically likely. That is for sure.
What do you mean? You mean he plays with somebody like much lower level than him, he loses a game that's statistically something odd, let's say, yeah?
Right. And so that to him, maybe that happens 2 or 3 times, and maybe in his mind, there's a 50% or greater chance that if he loses a game against someone lower rated, that they're cheating. And I would reject that hypothesis based on the data that I see, but I don't blame him for feeling that or thinking that.
But this data, what kind of data are we talking about?
We're currently working on a big report that we're going to be releasing publicly to the community. We've done reports before on chess. I'm not sure if you've read the Hans Niemann report.
Sure, I read it. But that's the most interesting thing you've ever published.
Thank you. It was a lot of work and a lot of stress, and I didn't sleep very much during that time. We're working on something similar, a little bit similar, to help people understand the statistics behind play. So, for example, I actually wanted to ask you this question. Well, first, let me start and ask, of all the games played by titled players on chess.com, and of all the titled Tuesday games, if you were to look at the win-loss ratio by rating for regular, like 3-minute play, and for titled Tuesday, where money's on the line, or this one's just casual games between titled players, and you predicted a line that said, if you are a 2600 rated blitz player and you're versus a 2800 rated blitz player, and you project, but you did that for all the different ratings and all the outcomes, would you expect that titled Tuesday would have more upsets and a different amount of lower rated players winning than casual play? Or would you say it's the same and there's the same amount of kind of cheating, which means there's the same amount of outcomes?
Yeah, that's the question, because that's, I think, the mistake that Fabiano, Vladimir Kramnik, and Hikaru Nakamura make. They think that people would cheat much more when the money is on stake. I don't think so. Me personally, I don't think so. So my answer is no. There won't be any correlation you are talking about. So I think that there are a lot of reasons behind cheaters, and money is not the most important of them.
Well, your intuition is correct. If you plot all of the games, and we've taken several years of games, and you plot the win-loss ratio per rating across players, it's the same for titled Tuesday as it is for 3-minute games, just regular games online. And we use 3-minute because not a lot of people play 3+1 outside of titled Tuesday.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's basically the same line, and we're going to show this. And we're currently now doing the same line for OTB. So that's the next thing. If you took the same line for OTB Blitz, maybe 3-2, would you expect the same line, or would you expect there to be more upsets for lower rated players in online chess?
If we take what? 3+2?
OTB. If you take OTB Blitz, which is 3+2, and you take online Blitz, 3-1, 3-0, would you expect to have more or fewer or the same amount of upsets of lower rated to higher rated players?
If we compare them, sorry, I don't understand. If we compare them, OTB and
online.
I don't know. They don't play much OTB. How can you compare? They play like there are people that are 3100 and they haven't played an OTB game in 5 years.
But we're comparing OTB ratings, expected value. So FIDE blitz ratings. I guess what I'm trying to say is, do you think that there's more cheating, which would lead to lower rated players winning higher rated players at a higher rate than for online versus OTB blitz?
I think so, yeah.
Okay, so we're going to publish our report, and then you can see all the data there. So the next question I want to ask you is, the reason that this is so hard is if you go and look at the individual, right? Let's say there's a lottery ticket that has a 1 in 1,000 chance of winning. If you go into the store and buy the lottery ticket, if you win one time or your friend wins one time, you would think crazy lucky, or maybe they cheated, right? That's such a small odds.
Yeah.
But if 1,000 people went into that store that day and one of them won, isn't that almost 100% expected that one of them would win?
Sure.
So in a Titled Tuesday, for example, you have hundreds of players, between 400 and 800 players. And they're each playing maybe on average 9 games, 8 games, because there's people who drop out. So
sure.
4,000, 5,000 games being played every Titled Tuesday. Wouldn't you then expect several games?
Less, because they play against each other. So
sorry, 5,000 people. But so then, okay, cut that in half, 2,500. Okay.
Yeah.
So let's say 2,000. Let's say there's 2,000 individual games. So wouldn't you expect in that number of games that a scenario that's a 1 in 100 chance is going to happen 20 times?
Okay, so you are saying that when Fabiano, for example, Hikaru, or somebody loses to some 2,600 play, it's normal.
What I'm saying is, yes, it's normal, because
it's normal,
maybe
of course, nobody argues.
There's
with
a 1% chance, but there's 99. They're not looking at the 99 other games where those people are getting destroyed, right? So it kind of gets fixated in this when you need to look at the whole sample of 2,000 plus games going on, and when you multiply it, on a Tuesday, there's double that because there's 2 events, and then suddenly, there's very high likelihood that small chance events are going to happen every time.
Of course, nobody argues with that.
When you're the player, all you see is your 9 games or your 11 games.
Yeah.
And so when one of those odd things happens to you, wow, there was a 1 in 100 chance that could have happened, but it happened to me in 11 games. That's cheating. But
I think they are not talking. But I think they are not talking when Fabiano, for example, Fabiano says that he doesn't say that that this is statistically impossible or it's statistically hard to believe. He just says, I am wiped out by a person. He goes and looks at for example, his classical games, his blitz games, and he says, what the fuck is going on? This guy wipes me out of the board like I'm some kiddo from chess school. And I'm Fabiano Caruana, the second best player in the world. That's odd. So it's not odd. You can lose any game. You can lose any chess game to any player, basically. But they're talking about the style, how it happens.
Hey, I'm very familiar with this. I mean, I was deep in the.
I can imagine.
I'm very familiar with this, and what's interesting is you get a lot of differences. I just watched someone online, evaluate a game that, let's say I'll just be honest, like Kramnik lost to a young player, right? And there were maybe accusations, etc. And when this particular person who's a master went through the game, they kind of explained their thoughts and views and thought, well, in this situation, it didn't feel like it to me, and that they viewed that. And so that's where just different people have different feelings and say, oh, well, this person blew me off the board. And then another person would look at that and say, well, this person did a bad sacrifice and there was a pretty straightforward defense. And then they were down a piece at the end. And then that was it. And so everyone can have a different view about the psychology of what's happening there. And so I understand that people have different feelings about it. And I don't know that having gone through this with Magnus Carlsen, I'm not sure that the losing player is the most objective player about whether that game looked or felt like cheating. I don't know. Maybe they are because they can feel things. Maybe they're not because it's emotional. Very interesting.
But where can we meet, Eric? There's a too big of a gap. I'm trying to be in the middle. I'm not accusing anybody. I'm trying to improve the situation. Honestly, my only goal is to improve the situation and to be logic, to be normal, to have a discussion. So where can we meet? Because there is a big gap now between you and, let's say, Kramnik and Korana. Talking to Korana for an hour and a half, I can say that he's just more, let's say, polite, but he thinks exactly same things as Kramnik does. Yeah. So where can we meet? How can we get closer to each other?
Look, I agree with you, and we're working with the team constantly to do this. So we're doing a couple of things. First of all, we are working on this report to help everybody understand the outcomes and the statistics. We're also working on we're trying to work toward being more transparent about our findings. So we're also looking at what the best way to do that is. Okay. The next thing that we're doing is we're constantly working on more proctoring and technology. As I told you, we're working on technology to get all the players on 2 cameras. So that's an active thing for us. We're probably soon going to also be sending proctors to people's homes and say, just like if you're participating in a sport, a doctor shows up at your door and says, pee in this cup, and you don't expect it, and there you do it.
Very good.
So we're going to start sending, maybe we'll send someone to Fabiano's house. Maybe we'll send someone to, someone else's house. Maybe some will be random. Maybe some will be suspicious. We're just going to send people and say, if you want to play in our events, you have to submit to, proof that you're not cheating. So that's something we're also looking at. But I want to address the thing that you first started with, which is to say, if a player plays a game and says, "Oh, that felt like cheating to me," they lost a game and they say that felt like cheating. That's a person who's having an emotional experience to losing a chess game, which is an emotional experience for people, especially the top players. We have a team of about, I would say, 7 to 10 people who are titled players, many grandmasters, who have reviewed tens of thousands or more of games of cheating and not cheating, and they look at engine lines more than anyone else. And so you have one person, maybe Fabiano or Kramnik, who says, that game felt like cheating. That player, I think, is cheating. Our team will run a report. They'll look at it. They'll look at the games. They'll look at the moves. And there's now 10 objective people who did not play the game and who have more experience than anyone at looking at cheating versus not cheating. And then they look at the game and make an objective determination. So 10 objective people versus one non-objective person are not going to see the same thing the same all the time.
But there are a lot of players who think the same way Fabiano does. The same numbers. So you think they all just very emotional because of losing, but they're used to losing, Eric. They've been losing all their lives. They've been losing for 30 years. And they've been losing to different people, to even some pets in the park, I don't know. That's okay. That's okay. For a chess player, it's okay to lose. Fabiano told me, and I believe him, I've heard this for many, many times, that losing online game, you have 10 minutes of rage. That's it, not more. Yeah. After 10 minutes, you go and play another game. No problem. Yeah. But there is something wrong here. Maxim Vasilograd thinks basically the same way. Hikaru is more modest. I mean, he thinks that I'm not modest. He thinks that it's a bit exaggerating. But that's what he says now. Before he was a little bit more strong. So he had more strong feelings about that. So it is so easy to cheat now, Eric. And people are very experienced. I think that you know it much better than we do, given the fact that you are into all these statistics. So they're very experienced. So they do a lot of things to cover themselves. So where is this point where we can start living more more safely?
Well, first of all, as I mentioned, we're going to be doing much more proctoring and testing of people. And so we'll show up and say, hey, we'll watch you play the event. Maybe we'll have them play 100 other games that aren't part of the event, and we'll watch and see how that goes. And then we can get a statistical baseline of them. We already do have a statistical baseline based on their online play and their OTB, but having an in-person one might be stronger. The other thing is just having looked at all the statistics for so long, I think people think we aren't as good as we are at catching people. And I have some numbers we can share. I think we're better at catching people than people think. They say, oh, well, if you're a smart cheater, you're not going to get caught. But, there are people who've been smart at cheating and we have caught them. There are people who, have said, wow, I'm so surprised you caught me. There are, and we catch more people. And the other thing is, as I mentioned to you last time we talked, is like, there are people who you think are cheating, or Fabiano thinks are cheating, that I also think are cheating and are still playing. And you're like, why is that?
Why is that?
That's because, as we talked about, we need to be statistically certain enough to go defend this, because we aren't going to go and say, because there are also people who have differences of opinion. There are players who we have differences of opinion inside of our company. Some people think they are. Some people looking at the games and the data say they're not sure. And so that's because we hold ourselves to a higher level of certainty than other people might. And I recognize that that's, again, not the same choice everybody would make.
So you want, in other words, you want your system to catch them, not your feelings to catch them, right?
We want to have the right balance of the data and the analysis that leads us to a conclusion that we can all feel confident and sleep at night, and say, when we email that person and say, you are no longer welcome to play here, that none of us feel like sick to our stomachs that we might be wrong and we're harming an innocent person.
Yeah, but is it possible that if you suspect somebody and you're like not 99% sure, let's say, as you mentioned in our first interview, and now you just tell him that you cannot play anymore, but we need a test, like OTB test, or play for 2 hours in our office somewhere, and then you can continue playing.
I agree with you.
That could be a solution.
This is like something that I personally have said to our team. We are now going to send more people to people's homes to have them play in events while physically proctored with somebody in the room. We'll get the head of their local chess club, or we'll get, a head of a federation, or we'll get someone from our staff, or somebody that we feel a high likelihood of trust, and we'll send them. And frankly, if you're one of those players who gets selected, you should be happy about that. Oh, great. Like, some people are maybe suspicious of me. Well, here's my chance to show them that there's no need to be suspicious. I'm this good at chess, which is awesome. So we don't want to send people only to people we're suspicious of. We want to send to places that maybe other people might be suspicious of, but we think are not cheating. Or maybe we are also pulling some random names. So this is something that we will start doing.
Eric, there is a very sensitive question with the prize money that do you ban somebody that won some significant amount of money, of cash prizes on the tournaments on Chesscom?
Not significant at this time. There are people who've been banned for winning money, a few $1,000.
They don't give money back, no?
We don't ask for the money back. That's probably would open up more legal problems. Then you also have the thought, maybe if we did ban somebody and demand money back, well, now people who might say, oh, they banned them just to get the money back, which is kind of silly because, we have more money than that. We don't need that. But it might make people think, oh, their motive was to take the money back or something. But then if you do it and you distribute it to players, well, then it's like picking favorites. So I understand the logic of like potentially taking money back, but I mean, it's nearly impossible to recover it. And so now you're getting into legal battles, and it's just more complicated for to do it.
But it's also like to cheat now. You just cheat. You ruin somebody's nerve system. Yeah, you make a theft, and then you just come and say, you, for example, you are being caught by Chesscom, and then you come and say, "Oh, sorry, I'm very, very sorry. I will never do that again." And you just get a second chance and you play again without returning anything.
Yeah, well, some of those people don't get money paid out to them in the first place. If we're somebody we're very suspicious of, or we think we're going to be closing for cheating, we won't pay them anyway. So we'll withhold that and not pay it out.
But is the path that I described now, is that the correct path? I mean, that's how it happens. Yeah.
You can come back. We will give second chances. There are dozens of people playing who we've given second chances to, and we have only closed, I think, 5 people who have cheated like a second time. People who are grateful to be able to come back.
5 players, yeah?
Yeah.
Okay. So, but there are a lot of players that have been like secretly banned, yeah? That we don't know that they were banned.
That's right.
Are we talking about significant numbers?
Let me look at my numbers here. Hang on.
Okay. Let's go to numbers here. It's very interesting.
Let's go to numbers. Okay, let me give you some numbers while I'm just looking at it. Sure. We'll do all the numbers at once.
Sure.
Titled players are there on chess.com?
Yeah.
Do you have a guess? Do you want to guess any of these numbers? Do you want me to just
I want to guess all the numbers.
Okay.
I want to guess all the numbers.
Total titled players are on chess.com?
How many title players are there on Chesscom? Are we talking about only official title accounts, or like Fabiano has a few accounts? Or he told me.
That's interesting. This might include some second accounts. Actually, I don't want to quote for sure. Yeah.
Okay, then let's say 25,000.
12,000.
12,000.
12,000.
That's not a lot. Okay.
Of those, 1,500 are women's, and about a little over 10,000 are titles.
But it's very important if it's only one account or 2 accounts, because I think everybody has, every big grandmaster, every grandmaster has many accounts on Chesscom. More than one.
We only allow 2.
Okay, so we have 12,000 title accounts. Okay.
How many titled accounts were closed in 2023?
I think you told me that, no? It was like... Okay, let's say 500.
Titled accounts closed last year?
But you said
94.
that it's...
94?
No,
Just
but you said somewhere that it was like 1%?
Well, I'll say that since 2014, so for the last 10 years, it's been 691.
691 accounts, yeah? Title accounts. So I was
the
close.
The majority of those by far are national masters and FIDE masters. US, United States or other national masters and or FIDE masters.
Okay, so how many were, again, in 2023? How many banned accounts?
94.
94? And some of them...
How many do you think confessed?
Confessed. 60?
31. So usually about a third.
31 confessed. And others said, no, we didn't do that.
Deny or no response.
So the account stay banned and they don't play anymore, yeah?
The account stays banned.
Account stays banned. And this 31, they still play?
Yeah. Or they're in the middle of their probation.
What is probation?
They can't play right away. They serve some amount of time that they're not allowed to play.
In the online prison, let's say, yeah?
Sure. Sure.
Okay, so what else? This is very interesting.
Okay. From prize events. So from prize events versus other events in the college, we've had in the college league, there's been 30. But those aren't
in the
those
college
are not
league. What is college league?
Just the collegiate chess league at chess.com. There's been 30, but none of them are title players.
Oh, okay.
Okay, sorry, it was just in here. Title Tuesday, there's been 46.
So 36 players banned in
46.
46 banned in Title Tuesday.
Yeah, like either during or right after Title Tuesday that I have here. I don't know. Again, this is from someone on our team. I'm not sure if that was just last year, or if it was all time.
Okay.
And then for the CCT, we have had 1 national master and 2 candidate masters. And in the main event, we've had 0. And in the Speed Chess Championship, we've had 0. So that's basically all that.
I can believe that because there are some measures there.
Yeah.
There are some measures, the cameras and everything.
Yeah. Okay, so how many people who are on their second chance account have played in Title Tuesday?
You mean this 31? Out of 31?
Well, 31 is just last year, but there's been more over time.
All of them?
In 2023, 77 people who played a Title Tuesday were on their second chance account.
But what is that in percents? What's percentage of that?
Out of all. Yeah, I mean there's thousands of people who play in Title Tuesday.
No, I mean 70 something of them were on second chance, and how many on second chance didn't play? You don't know.
I don't have the total number, but it's about. I mean, I would guess that if there's 690 of these, that's somewhere between 2 and 300 second chance accounts in total.
Okay, but if only every third of them confesses, then out of 700 you should have like 240 something.
Yeah. Okay. But only a small number of those play in Title Tuesdays.
So they don't play in Title Tuesdays. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
Why is that? Why don't they play? Okay, what else?
We've also in the last year asked 365 players to join a fair play call. And we're going to up that number this year. 152 players have been kicked out of Title Tuesday for not joining the calls.
How many again? Sorry, Eric. How many?
We've had 150 people have been kicked out of Title Tuesday for not joining the fair play calls for that particular event.
But they were not banned, yeah?
They were not necessarily. Some may have been.
Okay.
That's just total kicked out. Then there's banned, sometimes they're kicked. Sometimes we get them on, we say, hey, time to get on camera, and they won't do it, and then they get kicked out, and they're not allowed to join again until they come back on camera for a few times. So we're going to start to get more and more strict on this.
Okay.
Those are the numbers I brought today. I have a couple other actually interesting numbers, but it's more specific to events.
Okay. Let's hear them. It's very interesting.
Okay, good. Before I start, what would your definition of an unexpected result be?
I'm the wrong person to ask. I don't think that all these statistics tell me much. I mean, I don't have access to real statistics, your statistics, but only statistics. Let me say
this. Let's say that given a person's rating online, their chess.com rating, and let's just assume for a second that that's roughly accurate to their real rating. Now, that's a separate question. We can talk more about that. But let's just assume for a second that there's a 2,400 player playing a 2,900 player.
Okay.
And let's say that all the time that people who are roughly, 500 points apart on online blitz, let's say that there's a 10% chance that those people win. Does that seem unusual? Would that kind of trigger you to be like, that's unusual?
Sure.
10%?
Sure.
Okay. 1 in 10, that's not that unusual. You would see a lot. It's different numbers. These are confidence intervals for statistics. Maybe you have an 80% or a 90% or a 95 or a 99.
Then what's happening with the Hikaru? Sorry to interrupt. If Hikaru wins like 250 games against 2,900, that's something very odd.
That's
what we were saying with Kramnik, that he should lose at least every 1 out of 10, but he doesn't.
He does, but just not always in every streak.
Yeah.
So if you have 5 streaks together, yes, for sure. In 10 games, he should lose 1. But in
55 games he should lose 5. There could be on some other planet there could be a thing of winning 50 games in a row, and then next day winning 45. That's what we're talking about. That was very strange. That was extremely strange what he was how he managed to get this result. I personally don't think he cheats, but that was extremely odd.
It's extremely odd. Statistics are odd. Hikaru is odd in a great way. So I hear you and I agree with you. But when he's played 30,000 games, weird things happen. Okay, but let me get back to my numbers I want to share with you.
Sure.
I'm going to just share so let's say we use a 95% confidence interval, which is fairly normal for statistics. So that means that 2.5% of the time you're going to see things that went better than expected, and 2.5% of the time you're going to see things that were worse than expected.
Okay. Maybe, I don't know. I don't know statistics. If
I know,
it works,
I'm trying to help you.
Okay.
So so take 100%. 95% means you come in 2.5% on each side. Okay. So there's 2.5 times 2.5% of the time it'll be better than you thought, and 2.5 times it'll be 2.5% of the time it'll be worse than you thought.
Okay.
Right?
Yeah.
Okay. So we have all the math for what is expected, and then let's just say that the overperformers are people who win games in extremely rare situations. That there's a less than 2.5% chance that they should win that game.
Okay.
So I took 4 recent Title Tuesdays on January 9th, 2 of them, and on January 16th.
Okay.
So on January 9th, there were 555 people who played at least 5 games.
Okay.
9 people in that event performed way better than expected. That the result they got was like extremely good. They were in that 2.5% of performed way better than expected. Now, when you then calculate, given that there were 555 people, if you calculate the odds that 9 people would have that good of a result, what's the probability that would happen?
I have no idea.
93.6% chance. So it's
that there will
almost
be that there will be this odd result.
That there will be 9 odd results.
I can agree with that. Yeah, that could be a good day or something else.
Yeah. What's interesting is people look at that, and then if you look at this data, there's also a whole bunch of people who they played so badly, it was like a 1 in 100 chance that they would play that badly.
For sure. There could be a bad day. You lost first game to a cheater, and then you're just devastated, and you cannot play the next game, and then you get out of the tournament. Yeah, that could happen.
Yeah, you could be a 2,500 rated player, and you win 3 games out of 11. Well, that's an unexpectedly bad outcome.
But that's how it works. When we see that somebody is doing exceptionally well in one Title Tuesday, for example, win it or go into some top 10, and we don't even know who it is. You go to his profile. Who the fuck that is? Oh, Turkish boy. What is going on?
Yeah.
And then we start looking again. So one tournament is nothing. We need to see him in the 10 tournaments period, and then we can judge.
We agree, and we're aligned on this. But I just want to share, and I agree, that's the important one, is to look when it's the same person over and over again having it. That's what we're looking more at now. But for example, and I'll just share these last numbers. In the late Title Tuesday, January 9th, out of 400 people, at 409, there were 7 people who overperformed, and there's an 88.6% chance that would happen. And then you go to the next one, the early January 16th, 552 people, 10 overperformances. There's an 84% chance that you're going to have 10 overperformances. Then you go to the late one. There's 373 players. You had 8 overperformances. Well, there's a 71.6% chance. So greater than half the time that would happen. So what your point, and is the important point, is now how often is that the same person who's overperforming? And that is the right place to be looking. not just some random person who had a great one. So we agree there. Anyway, I don't know if these numbers are interesting. I think they're interesting, and we're gonna share more.
They're extremely interesting. They're extremely interesting. Thank you very much for sharing. Because one of the problems we have now is lack of information. When you have lack of information, you suspect everybody to be trying to hide something or anything. And thanks very much for admitting that you need to do more in this area and that you are doing it now. That's very good from Chesscom. I praise you for that. So, Eric, a very important question. Only if I can remember which one. So
you sent me a list of questions. I can tell you the questions.
Recently, yesterday and today, there were new videos from Vladimir Kramnik on his channel, and there was one question. He mostly says the same things he told many times, but there is one question that I'm interested in your opinion on. Sure. So he says that Chesscom has some obligations towards the chess world, towards the game of chess, and towards all of us. I personally don't know if it's true, and if I think about it, I'm a person from business who was working for 25 years in private business, and my clients were private businesses. And I don't understand what he's talking about. Do you understand what he's talking about? And do you feel that Chesscom has some obligations? And if so, then what are these obligations?
First of all, let me tell you, I wish I didn't feel the obligation. It feels massive. It's a 100-pound backpack on my back every single day. Mm-hmm. It is really heavy. And I absolutely feel it. And some people might say, "Oh, that's bullshit. He's a business guy. He cares about money and nothing else." I'll just tell you that's not true. I mean, if I cared about money, I would have taken the job at Facebook in 2007. I didn't, and I did this job because I love it. Have I made good money? Yeah, I've made good money. But I feel the stewardship and responsibility every single day, and everybody on our team does. And you could come at it from an ethical or spiritual and say, well, they're the most chess players play on chess.com. And you could feel, and I do feel that stewardship of the game. Man, there's more people signing up. There's 100,000 people every single day saying, "Hey, chess.com, I want you to be the place where that helps me enjoy chess." That's a huge responsibility, and I feel it. I don't look at those 100,000 people and say, that's all that money. That's not how we look at it. So you could look at it from like a philosophical, spiritual stewardship angle. But you could also look at it from a business angle. Nobody owns chess. There's nobody stopping anybody from coming in and doing whatever they want. Fortnite, Roblox, you name it, those people own their game. I don't own chess. I own chess.com, but there's a lot of domain names out there that are not successful. You have to build a product that people like, and you have to do the right things for people to like to do it. So if you want to put on the selfish business hat, you have to serve the game because there are other options. People can go somewhere else. There are a lot of YouTube channels. There's a lot of places to play chess. There's a lot of chess events. There's a lot of chess coaches. There's a lot of chess software. If chess.com didn't care about it, that would become clear. And if we just focused on money or just focused on our own selfish interests, we would absolutely lose our position in the market. So so I tell you, I feel it. Yeah, I feel a little bit of the business angle, but I don't really think about that very often. I feel the deep stewardship over the game. And a lot of people might say, that's BS. But I know what I really feel inside, and it's true. And everybody at the team does too. I mean, Danny, I've seen Danny shed a lot of tears over how much he cares about chess. That's true.
No, he loves the game. I can see that. I mean, you also, in my personal opinion, you cannot spend too much time in chess if you don't love the game. I mean, otherwise, it's not the best world to be in. Honestly, I mean, not too much money, not too much appreciation of what you do. Everybody's fighting everybody usually. And talking about bright future.
I think that was true. I think that's going to change. I think it is changing. I think there's been historically not that much money in chess. I mean, and a lot of the money that did come in was maybe questionable sources of the money, whether philanthropy or corrupt or whatever it is. It's, but now I think that the economy and the ecosystem has really grown. Last year, okay, you want to guess numbers? How much money did chess.com pay into the community? Meaning prizes for top players, money for Chessable course authors, people who are getting affiliate money for, their streamers or creators, and we're paying them money, or their contract commentators who now have a job professionally commentating. And I'm not talking about our staff payroll. I'm talking about all the rest of the money that we put back into the community that isn't people who are on our payroll.
$12.5 million.
Close. Right around $10 million.
See, if we talk about money, I'm getting better.
This year, I hope it's $12 million. But yeah, we've put money back into the ecosystem.
Yeah, and how much do you make?
We made, I'm not going to do the exact, but we did make over $100 million last year.
That's very good, Eric. Congratulations.
Thank you. But I'm happy because that money, to me, that money fuels the mission. That means more events. That means we get to hire more people. That means we get to put more money into the community. It also means we pay a lot of taxes. It also means we buy a lot of software. It also means that, it's hard to run a bit, this. Their expenses can run high, and, they're growing over time. But, we are fortunate to earn money that we then turn to hire people and put back in the community.
No, I got to say that your product is becoming better. I don't know. I personally don't play online, but I do some puzzles. I do some stuff. I watch something. So your product is getting better, and that's very good. So we see that you invest some money back. That you're not just came to chess to get the money and everything. Erica, a few more questions till then. So there was one thing that we did with Vladimir Kramnik that I personally think was the most interesting thing he discovered. It's the number of players that perform extremely a few players that perform extremely well in the last rounds of Title Tuesday. I hope you've seen. We discussed it internally before this broadcast. So, what do you think about that?
It's definitely an area of research for us. We've heard that from players anecdotally, that some people say, oh, there's more cheating in the first few games because they're less likely to look, so we'll try to get a couple points, or there's more cheating at the end because you're trying to get a better result. These are areas that we are researching right now. I think these are very interesting, and it's not a crazy hypothesis. It's a fair hypothesis. And so we're building up our capabilities technically to be able to look at all these questions. And we love this type of question, and I think it makes a lot of sense. I don't have answers to this currently. And I would also heavily caution and say that accuracy scores are not a good proxy for fair play, given how we do them. They're very crass, very crude, right move is, 100 points and blunder is -10, and, the kind of in the middle. But when you're doing cheat detection, there's more obvious positions versus harder positions. There's, opening books versus not. There's a lot of different things in there. So I would not use accuracy scores as a proxy for in any particular one game. Now, I do think it's interesting in a larger scheme of if you're aggregating hundreds of accuracy scores over time and looking at different rounds, that's fair. But you are also seeing different, by the time you get to the later rounds, you're also seeing different types of matchups of people with higher scores versus lower scores. So there's a lot of different things that you have to control for when looking at the data.
Yeah,
but it is a great question.
Yeah, but in this particular case, he didn't use accuracy; he used performance. So accuracy is not part of this investigation.
Okay.
So, yeah. Okay, Eric, thank you very much. And I want to say a few words that I think what is happening now, first of all, is normal. We are all live in the chess world. We work in the chess world, and we have a problem now. Everybody admits that. It's not a secret. And as usual, in every problem, there are different approaches. There is a quiet approach. There is a less quiet approach. There is very loud approach. We see many players talking about that. Internally, I can tell you that you probably know that everybody discusses that. Let's say if you talk to a chess player, if two chess players are meeting over dinner, they discuss this cheating, and whatever we hear during these dinners is something very disturbing, alarming. And my idea is that we continue talking about that. We continue hearing numbers. I'm very, very pleased that you are, and I hope, and I'm pretty sure that everybody will be, including Vladimir, that you will send people to houses, that we will start to take more actions against this disease because it's spreading. And we just love the game and really want to play. There is not much behind that. We just whatever we say is going to be is leading to one point. We just want to live normally, and people who play online, they should feel safe, especially top grandmasters, because they continue to play. They like to play online. It's already in their habit. After COVID, it's sustained. They play, they like to play, and they continue to attract millions of people on your platform and other platforms in chess. And that's basically our future in chess and the future of the game. Again, thank you very much. I wish you all the best and hope to talk to you at some point again.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me here. These are great discussions. These are important things. I agree with you. We feel the same, that protecting this for the game is critical. It's paramount. I mean, there's so much online chess happening every day. We need to do every single thing we can. Every single tool needs to be brought out and put in front to protect the game. So I appreciate the conversations. I appreciate the nudges and the little tweaks and the questions that, are asking the hard questions. That's important. So thank you very much.
Thank you, Eric. Thank you.
Okay.
Bye.
Bye.